Hi, my name is Clare and welcome to my second channel. This is the channel where I talk about my TTC journey or trying to conceive. And this is a video about 5 really helpful things that I've learned over a year of TTC. Trying to conceive can be a long and arduous night for the bar staff. Trust me, I've been at it for over a year now. If you are currently trying to conceive, you're on your TTC journey, this video might help you with some things that I've learned after a year of being TTC that I really wish that I had known at the start. First and foremost, the biggest thing I've learned over a year trying to conceive is that women actually have ovulation cramps. And once you tune into your body, you can actually feel these ovulation cramps. This is obviously something that I had completely tuned out all my life up to this point. And it was only when I started to really pay attention to my body that I've realized I have a pretty noticeable cramp around ovulation time. There was a period of time where I was really worried because my cycle is so regular that I wasn't ovulating, and I resolved this particular concern by tuning into my body and realizing that I actually have ovulation cramps and also using ovulation sticks. And I confirmed that I am in fact ovulating, so that's one problem out of the way. Following on from that, when you get pregnant, you also have implementation cramps. I was previously pregnant, I had a miscarriage at 10 weeks, but I mistook those cramps again for period cramps. So another thing that I just wasn't aware of the first time around, that I'm now looking out for this time around. The second thing that I learned is that there's a limited window in which to get pregnant. I'm from Ireland, and I know that all throughout my life my mother had me terrified that you'd look at a willy and get pregnant. And it turns out it's a lot more difficult than that, and a lot of conditions have to be right. You only have maybe 3 to 4 days maximum in which you're ovulating and you can get pregnant. So that was a big eye-opener for me. The third and the most important thing that I learned in this whole process is that period tracking apps don't work for women with irregular cycles like me. My cycle is so irregular. The shortest cycle that I've had in the last year is 28 days. The longest one is 40 days. Hence the concern about me not ovulating. Period tracking apps cannot handle irregular periods. I spent 8 months tracking my period and my cycle with the Flow app. And every time I entered in a symptom, the Flow app would change the dates of my ovulation, which was incredibly frustrating if I was entering symptoms after the ovulation dates they had given me, because as I've said many times, I can't go back in time and have sex on different days. So I personally would not recommend the Flow app for anyone who is trying to get pregnant or trying to avoid pregnancy if you don't have a bang-on regular cycle. I can't speak for the regular girls and the regular people, but I found the app horrendous, terrible, awful. Wish I hadn't wasted 8 months of my life using it. Feel like maybe I'd be pregnant by now if I hadn't bothered. So don't recommend the Flow app at all. If you have it, if you're using it and you don't have a regular cycle, fucking delete it. And try this next thing that I'm going to talk about, which is this new system that I am trying. And I discovered this new system, which is essentially just tracking your cycle on pen and paper, writing it out, trying to figure out what days you're ovulating and then confirming what days you're ovulating by using ovulation sticks. And this seems really simple, but it's just not something that I thought to do right away. At first, I relied on the dates the doctor said were probably my dates. Then I relied on fertility tracking apps. I should have really been doing this from the start. Just write out your cycles, get an average for your cycle, guess what time you will be ovulating, and then confirm whether or not you're ovulating by using ovulation sticks the week before those dates and throughout until you figure out what days you're actually ovulating, and use that to drive when you do the deed. Now, ovulation tests here in Ireland, in chemists anyway, are ridiculously expensive. So thanks to the YouTube video that I watched, I did find this bulk packet on Amazon. We all have our issues with Amazon and the treatment of their workers and just the general environmental concerns of using Amazon. But unfortunately, it is, sometimes the easiest place to find stuff. And this is where I found a bulk packet consisting of 50 ovulation sticks and 20 pregnancy tests. Now, you can really bomb through these, so this is a super efficient and affordable way to do this. So I'm one cycle into doing a handwritten, self-calculated system using these ovulation sticks and pregnancy tests, and I can do another video talking about that. If you'd like, let me know down in the comments below. I'm 1 cycle in. Unfortunately, I did get my period today, so our first cycle has not been successful, which is really frustrating. And again, I'll do another video about my emotions after being a year of TTC. So that brings me on to the last thing that I've learned after a year of TTC, is that you can do everything right and still not get pregnant. So the first time that I got pregnant, we weren't tracking anything. We were just having unprotected sex. And it took about 7 months for me to get pregnant. And then I had a miscarriage at 10 weeks. It's been a year now since my miscarriage, and we've been trying for a year. We've tried guesswork. We've tried relax and just have fun. We've tried cycle tracking apps. And now I'm trying the most accurate system I've tried to date. This month was particularly frustrating because I started this new system. I've watched loads of YouTube videos about how people have got pregnant after 1 cycle on this system. I also, having been pregnant before, I'm on the lookout for pregnancy symptoms, and I did feel some pregnancy symptoms this time around. Seems to me like we did fertilize an egg, because I definitely felt an implantation cramp, but here I am with my period. So you can figure out when you're ovulating, have sex on all the right days, take all the right vitamins, do everything right, and you can still not get pregnant. And that is honestly the most frustrating part of this entire process. If you enjoyed this video or you found it helpful, please subscribe to the channel. I will be putting up more videos on this channel about my TTC journey, things I'm learning, reviewing various different apps and systems that I've tried. I'll also be kind of cataloguing my TTC journey going forward. We have made an appointment with the doctor to figure out what is up and if there's anything wrong. So we may be moving on to the next step. What that is, I don't actually know, because this is another thing I've learned after a year of TTC. I have no idea how to get fertility treatment started, how to find it, and I have no idea what to do when the only way that we've been taught doesn't work. So, yeah. Please subscribe. And I hope that if you're watching this, you have more success than I've had so far.